Hello, EA TV. You're here for Command and Conquer right now. I am Matt Marcou. The man on my right is Jason Savopolos. Also known as Save-Up. It is a tongue twister.
It is.
Streak tongue twister. We're here to show you Command and Conquer Alpha gameplay. It's day 3 here at Gamescom, and we got just more and more for you.
Yeah, so today we're finding our rhythm, right? We got this down now. We're finally getting in that motion like a train here. The lines are crazy outside. We are talking about 2.5-hour lines, which is straight up Disneyland, Disney World. I'm not sure what the Cologne version of Disney World is.
Euro Disney.
Yeah, Euro Disney.
It's in France.
See how much I know,
We
right?
could go after the event.
Sure, why not? It's a date. All right, also at the same time here, it's not even the busiest day, right? It's not even the busiest day. And on top of that, we have the booth decor, as you guys see here, the GLA, the European Union, and the APA behind. So right now, it's amazing. We've had people come in constantly throughout the day, full booth, full time, all day.
Yeah. So those of you who may have the opportunity to come to Gamescom, we are located in Hall 6 in the AA booth. We are coming to you live from the demo station. Like I've said, 32 stations here demoing Command & Conquer, the first public sneak peek at the Alpha. For those of you sitting comfortably at home, you know what, that's not a bad place either. It's kind of hot and humid in Cologne here. There are a lot of lines, so for those of you who get to sit back and recline in your nice chair, or I don't know, whatever your setup is, or maybe you like being hunched over.
Have a beer,
Yeah, have a beer, just enjoy it.
Maybe in your box of briefs.
That's not bad. And also a big welcome to any of the U.S. Viewers who are watching. We're at a more U.S.-friendly time right now, so it's about 11 on the East Coast, almost noon. Hope that some people are waking up.
Yeah.
Pacific, it's a little bit rough, 8 a.m. Maybe you've stayed up to watch us. If so, mad props to you.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. So it's good to have the U.S. audience involved. Maybe they'll start to get our jokes eventually. It's a little bit tough finding that line here.
It really is. Yeah. It really is. You got to find that dance. That reaction is key. You know, you got to hit your mark, and you're not sure.
Yep. Yeah. Because like I said, we are from Victory Games. We're based in L.A. And we definitely have that American sense of humor right now. So
I think so. We've kind of fell flat a little bit here and there. So,
well, enough being said about what we think about this place. Here's what we're going to give you guys today: a brand new faction.
Yes, this is huge. The European Union, right? So I just want to go into a couple of differences real quick. So first off, between the APA and GLA, the EU is heavily advanced in their technology, from railguns, which is that streamlined damage straight in front, and it's massive AoE damage. On top of that, they have a superiority to the air, and so a lot of times you'll see some really great airplay. And then they also have something that people always love, which are the sniper teams, right?
Yep.
There's a particular general that you guys might see today that people absolutely love, just shooting from a distance, using a lot of the Fox LRVs and garrisoning a unit in that, and just running around, sniping and running out.
Yeah, if you like high-end technology, beefier units, kind of a fun tech-up pattern, I think you'll like the EU faction. And so let's give them a taste of the EU faction. A lot of tongue twisters going on here.
I know, today is all full
So we'll
of
give
them.
you a taste of the EU faction, and we're going to roll our second faction-focused feature.
There it is, 5 times fast. He's got it, especially for today.
Let's see the EU.
The European Union is the most high-tech faction in Command & Conquer. An ambitious, somewhat ominous, single-state entity, having been essentially sidelined in the First Generals conflict, are itching to prove themselves on the global stage. From a gameplay perspective, the EU brings cutting-edge technology, notably railguns, powerful, efficient units, and air superiority to the table.
And that's just the initial taste of the EU faction there. We're going to go into way more depth and detail. We're trying to just kind of set you guys up, because this is everyone's first time at even getting a glimpse. There's no history at all for this faction.
No, this is brand new. This is brand spanking new, and this is something that I think a lot of people wanted to know. I mean, the logo is where we are, and so it's just a mystery, and so people want that insight.
There's a lot of people, how will my European Union be represented? I think there's a lot of people asking that question.
Yeah, exactly.
It is kind of funny to take a real life element and put a gameplay spin on it, something fantastical, but still within the realm of reality.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
So to answer some more questions about that, actually, we have Melonie Mac, who got some insight this week from some of our production staff. Miss Melonie Mac, are you there?
Hello, everybody. I am doing awesome today. I hope you guys are all doing great. And as you can see behind me, we have tons of people. I can't even imagine what tomorrow's going to be like, but they're all excited to play Command & Conquer, rightfully so. And today is EU Day, which is amazing, but maybe not as much for me since I lost to Matt's EU is Cleaver.
Now you know how it feels. Thank goodness he redeemed my respect.
I'm going to have to find out some strategies to take EU out now.
You're not the only one. You know, you can join the support group and strategize against me. It's okay.
Okay, I see. Well, I'm going to try to reclaim my glory against EU today, but before that, I actually had an awesome time chatting with Eric, Global Community Manager for Command & Conquer, and I got so many great questions answered, and I know you guys are going to love it, so I'm going to show you. Take a look. Hey guys, Melonie Mac here. I am with Eric Kraus, Global Community Manager for Command & Conquer. How are you doing today?
Amazing, because it's Gamescom time.
Yes, Gamescom time is always amazing. So, of course, today is EU Day, and everybody is curious about the EU faction, brand new to the Command & Conquer Generals universe. What can you tell us about the EU faction?
So, super excited to actually have the EU the first time in a Command & Conquer game ever, and with most of our audience actually being in Europe. It was kind of a fan service that we did, and getting rid of the USA for now, implementing the EU faction, kind of also high-tech faction with a lot of high-end units that are very specific to a purpose. But overall, it will be probably the pick-and-play faction. You just can exactly know how to use it. There's like no in-depth micro, so it's kind of when you want to learn the game, that's a faction to pick.
Okay, they look really cool. I'm really excited to try the EU faction. I've been playing mainly APA, but it's cool. It's cool. So, can you tell us a little bit about? I noticed on the E3 trailer, the generals kind of had like their own animated portraits and things like that. So, are we going to see maybe like an animated portrait so we can get an idea of more of the generals' personalities in the actual game?
Oh yeah, like one of our main goals here with this game in generals. Wow, that was a good one. Is to bring like the character of all of them, to the players. So we really want to animate them and give them a character. And at the end, you will be able to actually taunt your other general, your enemy. So we had like a lot of fun already in playtests, taunting our friends. We had fun with that.
That sounds fun. I'm excited about that. And also, any chance we might see some funny-looking skins?
I would say yes. We had like, we already have some good ideas, like wedding dresses for certain generals, which will look definitely amazing. We have some mock-ups, but I don't want to spoil too much because I think once they come out, it will be a nice surprise for everybody.
Dude, that'd be pretty sweet, like beating somebody with your general wearing a wedding dress. Like, that would be rad. So, also, competitive focus. Do you plan on seeing generals become like an esports title? What do you see for that, competitive-wise?
I mean, an RTS, to me, the RTS general itself is very competitive right out of the bat. So hopefully in the future, we can, stand up against our competitors and show them, hey, an RTS game is not just fun, but also an esport title without sacrificing the other half. Because there are competitors who are like very, keen on esport, but they kind of forget the fun part. So we're trying to, marry them together to like a nice experience for all the users out there.
Okay, that's really cool. And what about like a ranking system?
Well, ranking system, I mean, everybody's so keen on competing with friends, telling like, hey, I'm in front of you, I'm much better than, you are. So we definitely want to support that, and because fans just want to compete against each other, even if it's on a fun level.
I like that. So what about for people who might not be that much into the competitive side of things? Are there going to be some cool social features in the game?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, now in the modern world of internet and the cloud, we want to enable our fans and our players to really communicate with their friends in game, and that starts with chatting with friends, easily invite them to a match, share their experiences, like even screenshots right out of the bat. So we have a lot of cool features planned, but obviously we will need some time to implement it, and that's the beauty in a live service. We can really listen to our fans and see how they use the game, and then step by step implement new social features as we go.
Well, that sounds awesome. Sounds like a game for everybody to be able to enjoy. I'm super excited and I'm anxious to play some more. So thank you so much, Eric, and thank you guys for watching.
And we are back. Well, that was an insightful piece there. Thank you so much, Melonie. And your reward, Melonie, for revealing so much information is you get to face the firing squad. We have Mr. Jimmy Tran here, also of Victory Games, who is going to be playing the EU today on their faction day and showing us a little about them. So, without further ado, we're going to show everyone what they want to see, the gameplay.
So we'll let Melonie go ahead and choose right now, because obviously she's going against the firing squad here of Jimmy and his 12-inch pythons. Look at those big boys, my God. So obviously she's picking an APA faction because she does recognize and kind of has that vibe already with them. It looks like Pyro here. They're currently matchmaking at the moment, so it'll just be a couple of seconds, and then we'll go straight into game.
Yep.
So now, Jimmy, you're a big fan of the EU, right? What do you think is going to be the fave strategy that you're going to do?
This general is really strong with, which is just infantry, so we'll see how she fends off against that.
All right. Well, it looks like the game is loading right now really quickly, and then once it jumps in, we'll see how he opens that match, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to, kind of as a explanation to everyone out there, so we have 3 factions in the game. For those of you who are new to Command & Conquer, EU faction, Global Liberation Army faction, and the Asia Pacific Alliance faction. So we are going to be following mostly today from the EU side. We have, like I said, Jimmy Tran playing here. He's starting off with a pretty common build, going straight for the power plant. So the EU faction is reliant on power, kind of as a gating mechanism for their tech. The power, as you can kind of see in the above the mini map there, you see the 090. That's the power indicator. So in order to continue attacking up, they need to have sufficient power. So right off the bat, he goes with that power plant. Now looks like he's starting into a barracks, which is pretty standard play, pretty standard opening.
Yeah, and at this time, you guys will notice that on the mini map, you can actually see what each other are building at the moment. It only goes invisible to your opponent once you actually build the command center to block the radar. So at this time, they can both see each other's opening unless they actually have a command center. Now, as you guys just saw, Miss Melonie Mac actually built a command center. So from this point forward, Jimmy is blind to knowing what actions she will do.
Yeah, he's blind to the mini-map. Melonie can still use any sort of scouting abilities, obviously, and any units that are actually there can see what's going on. But it disables, shouldn't say disable, it returns the mini-map more to a complete fog of war status. Another quick thing I want to point out about the EU faction while we're in their base is each of the factions' harvesting system, how they gather gold, is different. So for the EU faction, they actually have air harvesters. And the advantage to them is, so they only have 3, so so the advantage of that is they're airborne, right? So at the bat, it makes them very difficult to be rushed by other factions. The disadvantage there is they only have 3 of them. So if you were to destroy one of those harvesters, it would cripple more of your economy than, say, for the other factions.
Yeah, so you guys see right now, Jimmy's actually moving out onto the map, trying to see what's going on. You know, obviously, again, vision is always critical in this. He's using the choke points in the middle of the map to make sure that he sees the best vision possible. He's going for an early scout right now, going up the first ramp tier, and now the second. He wants to try to get as much information as possible to make sure that he has the best insight for what needs to be countered at this point.
Yeah, and he's met by Melonie's red guards there, who are going to quickly take him down. Now, what he's decided to do is garrison there. So he's inhabiting that structure with his unit. And it's going to be really tough for Melonie to penetrate that, because not only does she have to kill the unit, she actually has to kill the building first. And Jimmy's joined by a second recon scout there. I think Melonie's forces are going to follow that. Oh, man. It shows you have to be on your toes even in the early game as Jimmy ramped up right now. He takes a lot of damage from those Inferno squads. Those Inferno squads actually have the ability to damage his units from the outside. Oh, Melonie.
It looks like she just noobed it up there. I wish you guys could see the camera, but basically she clicked all around the structure using the movement, but she didn't actually place an attack order, so they died before they were efficiently using the de-garrisoning mechanic.
Yeah, so Melonie had the right idea. With the Flame Inferno squad, they can damage units in the building, and they ignore the defense of the building, so they go straight to the unit. But Melonie's having a tough time getting there. Oh, Jimmy, always picking on the ladies.
I know, I mean, he's really using that garrison structure to his advantage.
Yeah, he thinks he's playing against Kokol today again. And Kokol is another one of our on our QA team, probably the best player in our office right now. So he's matching up accordingly, and he's stocked it full. He's continuing going out. He's stocked it full. Oh man, there's definitely some cheese going on here. But it's for science, right? And this is a good kind of lesson learned. You know, Melonie's had some time to play the game. But you know, there's always new strategies being developed, and that's kind of a basic thing you learn about CNC, because it's a really important mechanic that needs to be mastered.
Yeah, and as you guys see here on Jimmy's screen, he actually went ahead and used the oil derrick setup there to actually get some additional funds. Every 5 seconds, he'll get another tick of about 5 gold, maybe 10. And so that way it will just give him a little bit of an economy boost. As he applies pressure, you know, expanding out and getting more money is essential, and he's using that advantage as best as possible. So right now he still has that threat of the garrison structure at the moment, going up with more rifle squads and actually really trying to put the pressure on.
Yeah, Melonie is still trying to peck down that garrison squad there. She's got the right units. It's a matter of how can she get close enough. She might have to go a little bit tankier in her build, potentially get a tank out or an armored vehicle that can absorb that damage. She can come in with her Inferno squad and flame out those units.
Yeah, exactly. And it looks like Jimmy's actually taking to the next tier. He's actually going for an APC right now, and he's getting the internal suppression upgrade, which makes it so that they can actually shoot out of the APC. Currently, at the given time that you guys see the APC right now, until that upgrade is met, the rifle squads or rocket squads in that group will not be able to shoot outside of the APC.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so Jimmy is like really showing both the macro and micro elements here. He's successfully been able to expand, get some more gold with those oil wells, and he's still maintaining his army, diversifying his unit base. He's not content at the build. One thing to point out there, so those lightning bolts you see are actually the result of Jimmy not having enough power. So you see above the mini-map in the lower left-hand corner, you see 110/90. That's an indication he's 20 power over his max. Now, he is still able to build and do actions even though he's overpowered, even though he's going over his power limit. However, everything builds at a much slower rate. It's not a state you want to be in. It's something you can tolerate for a while, but you want to get out of it as soon as possible.
Yeah, and it looks like Jimmy's really conquering the map right now with oil derricks. It's a really great solution, and it looks like right now he has, I think, 4 going on at the same time. So his economy is going to be huge. As you guys see, he's floating very low amounts of money right now, roughly at 545, and that's actually a really good thing. You want to stay fairly low in Command & Conquer. 2,000 or less is doing really well.
Yeah, it means you're just efficiently pumping up the units you can pump out. There's really no reason to sit on the gold unless you're looking to tech up. And in the state that Jimmy's in right now, he's got the advantage. If he wants to push the advantage, really, you know, it's just about pumping out units so he can continue to penetrate the base.
Yeah, now right now he's going for the tech lab, and this is actually going to get him access to higher tier 2 units and going into tier 3 as well. So actually, you guys can see that those are working its way, and then all the construction going on. Some of the animation in this game is just honestly quite amazing. I just stare at it from time to time, just in awe. Yeah,
I think that's honestly that's sometimes the pitfall about like playing a new game is that you know everything is new to you, right? So you just kind of stare at the graphics. You're obviously looking at the Frostbite engine here. Actually, for maybe not so obviously, the Frostbite engine is a very powerful engine. It's what we use here for Command & Conquer. It's used on a couple other games such as Battlefield. It allows for like the destructible buildings and the detail you see in both the environments and the buildings.
Yeah, so it looks like right now Jimmy has finally gotten countered on his garrison structure there, but he's actually trying to use his units, which are almost dead. And she just comes in with a dragon tank saying, "Get the fuck out." She is tired of that and doesn't want to deal with it anymore. So now she has the freedom to go out and expand, which is great. This is what she needs to do. And it looks like Jimmy is just constantly going up the tech tree right now while he has that advantage. He's not going to apply another attack just yet. He really just wants to get his tech up, and so he can get to the high tier units to show off the EU.
Yeah, now Melonie's got her base back. She's obviously behind though, right? Because she hasn't been able to expand at the same rate. I mean, like I said, that's the current playstyle of Command & Conquer. It's very fast paced. You can't just sit back and build up. You need to explore resources. You need to make sure that your opponent isn't capturing resources. There's only one resource in this game, and that is gold. And there's the 2 ways to get it. One, through the main bases that you see, where you have like the cargo-looking shipyards, and 2 is from the oil derricks. But it's all gold. It's all the same. And managing your bottom line and controlling your opponent's bottom line is really important.
Yeah, now as you guys see right here, from the advanced barracks right there, Jimmy's building a fire team. A fire team is a new unit. It's actually a caster unit for the European Union. As you guys see on the bottom there, on the bottom right, as Jimmy scrolls to the tooltip, you actually see that there's fire support, which grants bonus damage against affected units. So anything around them they can actually do really well with. At the same time, they have a Predator missile. This strikes down on any tank or vehicle unit, and it almost one-shots everything except for maybe the high-tier units like the Overlord, railgun tanks, and potentially maybe something else from the GLA. But honestly, it's a really devastating move. It works off of a heat system as well. So the more you cast, the higher the heat it goes. If you're at max heat, you can't cast anymore.
Exactly. Now we have a little bit of skirmish going on. Melanie's flame units actually doing quite a bit of damage there. Jimmy wisely retreats. Melonie forced to push up there with her flame squad there. Melonie, I think she managed to kill a couple of units there, but Jimmy wisely pulled back, knew he was in a poor situation, he was at a choke, and now he feels comfortable enough to proceed yet again.
Yeah, right now that was actually a really great engage. He immediately de-garrisoned his units in the front of the APC, so that way he can immediately use them to effectiveness. Since having those flames come out, they will actually do damage to the garrison units inside the APC. So he immediately wanted to take that disadvantage away.
Yeah, and this map is Red Zone, so just a little bit about Red Zone and how Jimmy's decided to play this. So Red Zone is actually a very very easy to defend map because you have the 2 choke points before you get into the base. So it's actually really easy to defend it, but you have to be, highly aware of the mechanics, the garrisoning structures, etc. Jimmy looks like, he decides to scout there.
And it looks like right away he's using the spy drone to see up the cliff. Obviously that was a disadvantage for him. He has his fire team there and he used that bonus to the surrounding units right before he engaged. So right now he's using that communication again, that upgrade, and he's really pushing his that choke point and really trying to penetrate her base. And it looks like the engagement's starting to pull off. Railguns are doing great damage. That AoE, she did clump up her units, so this is making it really hard for her to be effective.
Yeah, I think this is maybe just too much for Melonie for this game. But what you saw there is, like I said, this is a heavily defensive fortified map. So Jimmy, he decided to play this game very aggressively up front, probably taking advantage of Melonie's lack of knowledge on the map, but he pushed up effectively. He did something really smart there. When he got to the second ramp, he knew Melonie was holding it. So he scouted it so he wasn't surprised by what was above him. That enabled him to be on an equal playing field and fire at the same time as Melonie's units. So, and with the unit superiority he has, he ended up taking that advantage there.
Yeah.
It looks like this is pretty much GG here. I don't know if Melonie's cooking up some sort of surprise. She's got a smile on her face.
She might have a small expansion, but right now her economy is not booming at the moment. So she would really have to start from square one. And Jimmy having pretty good vision of the entire map with EU, along with that economy boost. I mean, he's floating over 11K right now, and he's sitting pretty on top of his tower, like a fat cat in the ivory tower, huh, buddy? So right now he's just applying pressure when he wants to and showing off the EU when he feels like it. I mean, he has complete control of this at this time.
Yeah, this is pretty much just clean up at this point. One thing that we didn't quite point out at the beginning. So Jimmy's using, I believe that is Bulldog, right? The Bulldog general. That is Bulldog. Bulldog is the base general of the faction. So meaning actually when you are in the alpha or the beta, Bulldog is the base faction, the faction you get for free when you join in the game. And Bulldog has a good variety of access to a lot of units. Now you can unlock more generals through the earned currency in the game, so you don't have to pay for the generals. You can unlock them in other ways, or if you want to collect them, you can pay to unlock them immediately. But like I said, Bulldog is just a good general fit. General. It's going to get confusing if I say general too many times. Bulldog is a good standard fit to the EU faction. Has a lot of access to everything, and I think in this next matchup here, we'll show you a more specialized general.
Yeah. So it looks like Jimmy's just going to push out with his last bit here. Try to find out where that expansion is and take it down. So it looks like right now he needs to really fortify and get his troops ready to go, which he has. He already has them hotkeyed, as you guys see, on Control Group 2. And he already has a Control Group 1 also attacking in the same area. Obviously, she just built a command center, so it's extremely easily visible. And so he's just going to apply the pressure and take the victory here.
Yeah, like I said, it should fall pretty easily. I don't know, I'm going to say Melonie's a little bit bad-mannered here. Like, it is perfectly acceptable to hit that surrender button. What she's typing out a little message. She's typing GG. I don't know if anyone caught that, but you do have the option if it's just not your game for whatever reason. You do have the surrender option. There we go. Here we have the victory for Jimmy Coco. They're shaking hands.
Unfortunately, she could not survive on that one there.
Maybe we should make Jimmy play with one hand behind his back.
I know sometimes he does have
like
that
mouse only, no keyboard, right?
But we do have another guest to our left here.
I think let's give Melonie a shot to redeem herself there, right? Let's give Melonie a chance to strike back.
All right. So Jimmy,
she's looking at us like, what?
She's like deer in headlights. Oh my God, really? Okay, so here we go. Jimmy has his setup here again, and then at the same time he's going to pick another EU faction-based general. So this time it looks like Mercury Red here is going to be the poison that he's going to choose. And now Melonie's looking at what to do about that because she really, really wants to go against a really good, I guess, offense in this situation. So she's deciding at the moment.
It's funny that you mentioned that he picked his poison. Mercury, if you in the audience did not know, is poisonous. That's my public service announcement for the day.
Wow, I guess you had to swing that in there, huh?
I'm a man of science.
Gotcha.
And this is all for science, and just giving you more science. So if you need, you can go on Reddit and press people and mention your knowledge of mercury and the poisoning. You know what? That doesn't impress me. I don't even know why I'm talking about it anymore.
I was wondering where you were going. I was like, is he going to dig himself out of this hole?
I don't know. I'm one of those smart Alex who like, did you know? Blah 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 blah. Like it's just kind of my personality. So I'm gonna cut that out. Unless you guys want more fun facts, we can have Matt's fun facts on the stream every day.
Yeah, we could. Maybe somebody will ask for one of those fun facts, and you could drop the knowledge.
Yeah, we can talk about the geography of the EU, but. Not right now. We are back into another game. So once again, it's EU Faction Day. So we have Red Mercury. Jimmy is playing EU Faction against Melonie, who chose GLA Nitro.
Now GLA Nitro, for those of you that don't know, she specializes in melee units. A lot of the times, very fast, heavy damage, and it's a very all-in strategy. She's heavily offensive. So she really has to apply that pressure as best she can for that early advantage and then just press that the whole way through.
I don't think she's that offensive. I think she's a perfectly nice young woman fighting for her cause. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm not saying if I agree or disagree with the politics of the Global Liberation Army, but saying she's offensive is a little bit far. Oh wait, you meant
offensive mechanic. Yes.
Oh, that's what you meant. Oh, got it. Got it.
Wow.
I mean, yeah. Truly, the GLA has a lot of explosions. I will say.
Yes.
Yep. Then that's the Nitro's specialty. We refer to her as the Demolition General.
Yes. Yeah. Covers a lot of bomb tactics, and she's one to have a lot of fun with if using the correct method. Using cliff playing and stuff like that, she can really give the element of surprise, and it could be a really pleasant surprise for the person that's giving.
Exactly, and I mean, she's a really fun general to play. It's going to be interesting, this matchup against Mercury Red, the EU, who traditionally is very good with infantry and fast strikes, but he could find himself into a lot of trouble if Melonie is able to be patient with the Nitro General, really use effectively those bombs. It's very much risk-reward, right? You have the power, but with that power, it takes a lot of skill to line it up perfectly. And it is possible to just kind of throw away your efforts.
Yeah, it's really strongly, you have to play that advantage, right? It's all about where your positioning is. And now, as you guys see on the Mercury Red side with Jimmy here, he's using shock troopers. He's building those out right now, going triple barracks, which is a heavy commitment to infantry. The one great thing about those shock troopers, they can actually fire on the move. They're the only infantry that can. They have the flashbang ability as well, as we cruise back to that tooltip real quick. And it looks like in this case it clears garrisons, which is awesome. So the advantage here is really, really going to be with the infantry units and used really well. Now, if Nitro goes ahead and uses some of her units to detonate right in front of those guys, then that will be null and void right away.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know if we're going to see a lot of flashbang play in this one. It's possible Melonie want to get some revenge and take the tactics she kind of learned last game and apply it against this matchup, that would not work out in her favor. So I think if she really sticks to the kind of the bomb play that Nitro has, that is, moving in what the unit is called the terror technical, and the terror technical has the ability to detonate. Detonating does an area of effect damage, meaning kind of like a circle in an area, not to one specific unit.
Yeah, so it looks like right now on the map of Jimmy, he actually already has 2 oil derricks right away. As you guys notice, he does not have a command center, so Melonie does see this right away and is already preparing something to make sure that she stops this expansion and being aggressive, right? She wants to stop that macro play and immediately get those resources out of Jimmy's hands.
Yeah. Another thing, we didn't talk as much in the first game, so one thing to point out, so where you see in the lower kind of leftish area, left center of the map, and oh, Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy.
I think.
Oh, Jimmy.
I think Jimmy kind of alt F4'd there a little bit, but I don't know if he hit a wrong key. He did come and look at me real fast. So.
I'm going to make sure I'm not stepping on any cables here. Melonie is claiming a legitimate victory there. I think we're going to give it to her at this point. Legitimate victory. As we kind of sort this out, actually, while we're working on this, let's actually roll some insight into our game. One of our dev diary clips, we have a dev diary clip on actually the units we were talking about, the making of a bomb truck. It's our second dev diary video, and it gives a little bit more insight into kind of the strategy Melonie was going for. So let's take a look at that while we're waiting to set up for the next game.
The European Union is the most high-tech faction in Command and Conquer. An ambitious, somewhat ominous, single-state entity, having been essentially sidelined in the First Generals conflict, are itching to prove themselves on the global stage. From a gameplay perspective, the EU brings cutting-edge technology, notably railguns, powerful, efficient units, and air superiority to the table.
We're going to go to our Twitter feed here and actually answer some Q&A at the moment while we sort out some of these technical difficulties really quickly.
Yeah, this is truly a live show at Gamescom here. We are in a massive booth production here, so it might take a little bit of time to sort those out. So we'll be on stream here to just kind of talk through the questions. Joining us will be Melonie. Hey, Melonie.
Hey!
How are you feeling?
I feel great after that victory. I'm just feeling so good right now.
She had a big grin on her face from ear to ear and chanting her own name. I wish there was a mic on her. I mean, she was going bananas. It was quite wild.
What can I say?
Yeah, it's actually really hard to earn a victory against Jimmy. He's a really talented player. I actually don't know if I've beat him in the office yet. I've actually, yeah, I may have come close, but have not beat Jimmy. I must admit that.
Oh,
yeah.
Snap. Pro. So much pro.
So while we have Melonie here, and I'm just getting our feed set up, we're going to take your questions. So just a reminder, if you want to send us some question to answer, you're going to want to tweet at official CNC. That is our Twitter. It's 3 letters there, CN, as in N is for Nancy.
Yes.
And tweet with hashtag Command and Conquer. That's how we're picking up the questions here today. I'm actually going to see if I can jump into the Twitch chat, because I know there are quite a few of you in Twitch who might be a little bit lazy and don't want to, stroll over to the Twitter. You don't want to open up the other tab. So I'm going to try to make it convenient for you here. But in the meantime, I guess, Melonie, you want to start off any Any questions for us? Because obviously we got to see the game,
Yes.
live and kind of witness things. Do you have any questions? Because like I said, it's it's a lot of firsts there for you, and I want to see if any insight we can give you.
My question is strategies for facing off against EU faction. No reason, not that I don't already know this, but for everybody else,
Yeah, I would definitely say it's dependent on the general, right? In your situation, going against Bulldog, that is rough. I would say you have to go Flame Soldiers right away, right? That
Okay.
Flame Squad was necessary. I think the critical mistake you made where you clicked around the civilian building that he garrisoned hurt you pretty badly. But once you have any kind of flame mechanic in your squad, they automatically de-garrison those units right away and do direct damage, ignoring the building's defenses. And then after that, you immediately go ahead and press that advantage right away.
Nice.
So that's one thing that you could have done quicker, because I know you guys did build a little bit of the red guards, which didn't help you in that situation at all.
Not quite.
So that was an investment on something that didn't have any return,
Right.
unfortunately.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's one of the things about RTS is sometimes you have the right idea, but it's the execution just isn't there for a reason. But that's why you keep trying and trying again.
Exactly.
And that's the
Always try.
And that's the fun of mastering a game, in my opinion. That's why I like strategy games, RTS games. Cool.
Very much so.
So we are still on the feed here. I make sure I'm actually searching for the right one. There we go. All right. So we do have a couple questions here. So I'm gonna pop these up for Melonie to pose to Savopolos.
All right. Great. Well, we have Matthias here, and he wants to know: are we going to see aircraft/airplanes like the original Generals game, or just helicopter-like units?
Is that a me or is that a you, Mr. Matt?
We can both do it, but if you want to take the first crack at that one.
Okay, so the fixed-wing aircraft is something that we do already have in development right now. And currently speaking, that is the actual unit that's been giving us a little bit of problems at the moment, right? With the Frostbite engine, it's been a little bit harder to master, and so we have it in, but it's not to our standards. So we wanted to pull that back and get it right before we expose it to the public, but it is on the roadmap, and that is something that we will be delivering. It's just a matter of perfection, and once we have that good mechanic and it feels right, then we'll probably release it fairly soon.
Yeah. So I mean, just for those who are still trying to wrap their minds around the CNC game, it's a live service. So it's not a box product. It's something where we are updating, committing to roughly a couple updates a month. Those updates will give not only new generals and new units, but allow us to implement new features in the game. In this instance, we are still in alpha, so keep that in mind. You are seeing alpha gameplay. This is not even yet beta gameplay, but we are completely aware of the long history of kind of the fixed-wing aircraft. And there are more than just a couple helicopter units in it. I mean, the EU faction, I don't know if we got to quite see any of them.
Unfortunately not, but...
Yeah, we did not get to see some of those units yet today, but there are more than just the helicopter units in the game.
Yeah.
Hopefully we will get into another game and we'll specifically show those on stream today.
Yeah. So it looks like right now the game is up and running once again. So if we wanted to, we could go back to game 2. So it's up to us if we wanted to do that. Matt, what do you feel? You want to answer a couple more questions?
This is EU faction day. We need to show more of the EU faction.
Sure.
And,
I think so.
And we're going to show some air. Let's bring up, so I'm going to launch the game here.
All right.
We're going to bring up our usual contestants. So Melonie, you are 1-1 on the day.
Yeah.
Would you like to retire for the day?
I think I want to watch. I want to see the pros in action.
Gotcha. So
I think that'd be amazing.
So let us bring up our pros. Pros.
I thought he was going to clap. They did like a clap-on maneuver. I'm not even sure what's going on
Exactly. So we're gonna make way. We're gonna step aside a little bit for our pros. I may have to do something here. Maybe I clapped too soon. Oh, there we go. There we go. We are back in.
It just takes a minute. As you guys would imagine, obviously at gamescom, everybody shares the internet bandwidth, and since our game is requiring internet, we have a hard time at times to get the internet requirements we need. So it looks like we're good to go though here, and the internet's good. So we're going to go ahead and have Jason Coco be playing in lieu of Jimmy being playing another faction. He's going to be playing EU. Looks like the Air Force General is what he's locking in right now. Jimmy's choosing something on his side. He really wants to show something different, so he's going to Urban Combat General from the APA. They're going to go ahead and match up right now. And it looks like it's going to be just a couple seconds before we go into the gameplay. So just to keep in mind, the Air Force General, as you guys would imagine, has a lot of air units. I believe Jason Coco is very adaptive to his strategies, and he has 3 to choose from, one being the Phantom, which is a cloaked unit. So a lot of the times, the harassment from just that first air unit is actually going to do great damage to most likely Jimmy's economy. Now, since Jimmy is a pro, he might be assuming this and actually going to build anti-air stuff just in case.
Great, and looks like we're getting into the game here. This is a small town map? I don't know. We are backing out. Still getting Jimmy here set up on his new machine. But
give us 1 second here.
Yep, vamping off the last question. The general we're going to show our QA guy Jason Coco play is the Air Force General of the EU. So, and in response to the Twitter question there, we are going to show a little bit more of the air units that we currently have in the game.
Yeah, this is definitely something that we've been wanting to show for a long time, and obviously in this situation, the EU and how we've hyped it up already, this is definitely what we want to show. So we don't want to sell you guys short, so we're going to make sure that we can get this working here for you guys. We thought we had all the technical difficulties sorted. It looks like we might have a couple more kinks, so we're going to try this again. They're relaunching the game client right now, and then once that's loaded and in and ready to go, we'll go ahead and find the match once again.
Yep. So we've got the unlucky station. I don't know if Melonie cursed us, because I'm looking around at all our testers who are like, just staring at their screen. All the games are going on fine behind us. We just happen to pick the wrong stations, I guess.
I guess. It's the curse of the demo booth, right?
Yeah.
When you put things on demo, things go wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
So it looks like they're back into the game client right now, but they're actually trying to find a match first to verify that we're good to go. And then once they do, and if it works and goes through to the next piece, then we'll be fine. So we're just making sure that everything's good on our side, and then we should be fine to go. Looks like match has been found. And there we go. Loading. There we go. So it looks like Jimmy just needed to restart his client after the server reset here. And now we're going into the game. So we're going to be watching from Jason Coco's perspective, playing the European Union as the Air Force General. Ironically, outside, we actually have a guy that's already dressed up as a character. I wonder where he is. I wish he was here right now to show him on camera.
Yeah, we actually are on the booth here, and we'll be giving you guys a sneak peek of the booth, or a tour of the booth, I should say, later in the week. But we do have some actors here dressed as your favorite generals, or hopefully your new favorite generals. Yeah, as I said, Jason Coco, our man, playing Daedalus, the EU generals, air generals, specializing in Air Force. He is against Jimmy playing the APA faction. He's using Beast, urban combat general, who specializes a little bit more in infantry. At first, how do I say, when I hear myself saying that, I think that's a little bit of a mismatch, right? Isn't it? I got air units against dudes on the ground. What do?
Yeah, so in this case, it's actually going to be a really, really good dynamic to see what Jimmy does in this situation, right? Coco automatically already went War Factory first, and is looking for that Fox LRV right now, and he's going to apply that pressure to see what Jimmy has. He really wants that detail. Now, obviously going with air units for the Air General, it is a little bit farther up the tech tree, so he wants to make sure he's clean and ready to go. Now, Jimmy on the other side here, as you can see on the mini-map of Jason Coco, has already got a command center going. Now, the APA always needs that, and that's something that they always need to have, so that's just a staple of their tech tree.
Yeah, exactly. So once again, going over the mechanics reinforcing the EU, they have a max of 3 harvesters on their base, airborne, very difficult to harass. This map is more open than the last map we saw, so not as easy to defend, should see a pretty high action game. Coco here on the EU, he is opening up with a War Factory. Already also focusing on his economy as well.
Yeah, I mean, look at his camera right now. The guy is crazy insane on the APM. I mean, he is just constantly moving on the map, dragging everywhere, and then now he's going straight for the economy of Jimmy. He's going to harass as fast as he can to optimize the amount of damage.
Yeah, this is a man who's played the game enough to know all the routes, goes straight for the line, knows the exact line of sight to take so that he's not easily scouted. And he looks like he's not going to do too much damage here. Managed to kill off one of those recon shoulders.
And it looks like Jason Coco stayed a little bit too long there. And that was something that he really needed to get away just so he can scout a little bit later, right? He saw the Urban Assault Squad, which does decent damage to the light recon vehicles since they have light armor. And so overall, he played the advantage decently, but he actually didn't collect any harvesters there nor the Urban Assault Squad, because Jimmy actually did some crazy micro and actually backed those out in time.
Yeah, so we definitely have differing styles going into this game. Jimmy kind of taking a step back, obfuscating the fog of war from Coco there so that he can tech up, most likely in anticipation of air units. So I think he's probably trying to get to his higher tech.
Yeah, now see what he's doing here? Again, he's in Jimmy's base, harassing once again. This is great micro, because right now, obviously, Coco is teching up to the air, and when he does that, he's vulnerable. So he's trying to make sure that his opponent doesn't have an advantage to go outside of his base, so he can safely tech up to where he needs to be.
Yeah, and Jimmy also doing a good job to resist as the APA to resist the U faction. So as you notice, he put up an oil derrick as a one of those minor expansions, and he's actually defending it as well with a tower. So it really shows you how valuable those are to actually spend resources to secure the income you're getting.
Yeah, and as you see, I mean, Coco has a lot of vision on the map. He already sniped out one of the Urban Assault Squads on the middle of the map, which was giving Jimmy a lot of vision there to see when Coco is attacking. And then now that Phantom's actually coming in down the map, and he's making his way towards Jimmy's base. So again, this is a cloaked unit. Now once they start attacking, they decloak, and so that's when they are vulnerable. But as you guys saw before, Jimmy doesn't have any anti-air at the moment. So Jimmy really needs to make sure he has something just to prepare for Coco. And so it looks like he's automatically harassing, and Jason's just taking it to that crane. If he destroys the crane right before it actually builds that structure, it blows up completely.
Yeah. Our EU player obviously coming in here knowing exactly what to do, knowing that he's a superior air game. A little bit surprised that our APA player didn't prepare for it as much. Although it is not the APA player's strength for this current general. Beast's strength is not in the air right now.
Yeah, exactly. Now, on the other side here, Jimmy does have some Gatling tanks, so those will be the anti-air that he needs. So right now, Coco's just to apply a pressure, use a lot of that air. He already built an Orca, which is good against both the ground and the air units. It's a great counter mechanism, and for the APA, they really need to step up on that anti-air.
Yeah, and at least APA, he's been able to show our EU player enough that that he has a resistance. So, because what could have happened is that our EU player could have gone more and more into the air units, really gone all in with his strategy. But he decided to play it a little bit safer. And that shows he at least respects his opponent's ability to hold off any future air attack.
Exactly. And it looks like Coco is all over the map right now, picking off oil derricks, and it looks like he took down one of Jimmy's in the bottom left corner there. He's going to apply that presence to the Orcas and actually go to the back of Jimmy's base. I know Jimmy probably already knows this is going to happen just because of the path of the Orca itself. It does, and he's answering with a Gatling cannon right away. But it looks like Coco is going to use a player power here and just damage those units just enough to make sure that he can take one down with the Orca if he can.
Yeah, he got a good airstrike in there. Like I said, still knowing to hit that resource line to hinder his opponent there. But APA player has managed to get some of those air defenses up. He's dropping probably missile launchers where he can, and additionally getting those Gatling tanks, which are very effective against air.
Yeah, and it looks like Jimmy's coming back right now, right? So he's going to go ahead and attack the expansion of Jason Coco in that top left corner. But Coco has another surprise. That LRV, the second one he used to harass, is still around. And he's actually going to apply pressure on the other side too. As you guys know, for an RTS, these guys are going back and forth, controlling multiple points at the same time, and really applying the pressure in both directions.
Yeah, at this point, we're really seeing a little bit more of the macro game coming effect. So APA players decided to leave the base, actually scout out for other opportunities to kind of, in retribution, stop the EU players' economy.
Yeah, and it looks like Jason Coco's doing multiple things right now. So he already has an Aegis tank to defend, he has a regular barracks, and he also has an additional advanced barracks as well. So at the same time, those are going to be the things that he's going to be using to really make sure he has everything covered. So it looks like here they're still harassing the expansion. Coco is trying to take down Jimmy's troops, and he's just trying the best pressure possible.
Yeah, exactly there. Wow. Then here we have our APA player scouting out more of the lower map, making sure he's not missing anything. Not sure if he saw the additional air units going on at this point. Still a lot of scouting going on. Looks like both players have kind of settled into a rhythm. They've drawn out their lines of combat on the map, to you know, make sure they're not missing anything. They took that moment to step back, scout, make sure they had all the information possible, and now they're going to get back into whatever rhythms they're planning.
Yeah, and it looks like Coco's harassing again down in the bottom corner of Jimmy's map here, bottom left corner. But Coco right now really wants to focus on trying to get that additional command center, it looks like, along with having the secondary troops hit from the opposite side to catch that oil derrick if Jimmy tried to expand again. Now at the same time, he's trying to hit from multiple fronts, so this is a really good tactic from Coco. He's trying to make map awareness everywhere. As you see, he still has something on the right side of the map on the bottom there, and then also he has something on the bottom left as well, which actually is engaging right at this moment. It looks like there's multiple things happening. There's so much going on, it's hard to cast against sometimes, huh, Matt?
Yeah, exactly. So we see a Valkyrie coming out there for our EU player. Valkyrie ripping into those ground forces right now, but can't do much to stop this power plant. Will the power plant goes down? That's pretty devastating right now to the EU player. As I said in the previous game, the EU is very reliant on power. They are now in a low power state. You see in the lower left corner, 140 over 90 power. They are using too much power at this point, so their output of units will be reduced drastically.
Yeah, and so right now Coco's a little bit on his back feet here. He has an expansion up and running with an oil derrick as well, as you guys see, but that low power is going to make him really, really hard to react. It's going to feel very sluggish, very slow. So he's trying to get that back up and running right now, and at the same time trying to keep up his economy. Jimmy did a great job there, and obviously playing as the EU, you have to keep in mind that those power plants are always sniped ability areas for the EU. So obviously that power plant got sniped, and now he's actually in that low power state.
Yeah, I guess a little bit of a tip, both for and against the EU. So well, we have a skirmish here. Let's just see what kind of action is going on. The Valkyrie and the garrison unit holding forward as best they can. The garrison unit goes down, taking an infantry with it. Valkyrie will not be able to hold off for too much longer. It's like I said, it's a very meaty air unit, so it's going to take quite a few hits there because it's only up against that one gauntlet tank, but it is going to go down. So back to the power. So you see, our EU player has secured some additional power resources. He's doing more to protect them. As the EU player, it's important to, stick those power plants, in the back corners of your base where no one can reach them. Fuel bomb going down there. There, the EU player, Kokol, trying to do some damage, trying to stop these waves of infantry coming out. Because at this point, they're starting to overwhelm him a little bit. Yeah, it looks like Jimmy's applying some of that great pressure. Kokol has the advantage at the beginning, but he slowly lost that with the map control along with the units. So right now, his expansion is actually getting attacked. Jimmy is trying his best to apply that pressure and take that advantage to the man. Now, Kokol, being the professor here, has to react accordingly, right? He's still ahead in the economy game, probably a couple thousand, and so he has to press that advantage as best he can while he still has that moment, because right now Jimmy's going to catch up almost immediately. It looks like he hit level 3 of the generals, and so now he has a general player power that is the air raid level 2, so that's going to do more damage and probably hit more of a bigger area on the map. So this is going to be great to fight back. He does have those LRVs along with those rifle soldiers there, and he's actually going to apply the pressure, take out that threat that was already on that top left expansion. Yeah, and obviously one thing to note is that as you have different generals, you have different player power. So, from our last game, if you remember, we didn't actually see it used effectively, but Never Give In, I'm sorry, the Mercury Red General had a player called Bulk Ward, in addition to Never Give In, that took up his first slot. That's a defensive power. Using Daedalus' initial power is the airstrike, an offensive type power. So it shows you how the generals not only impact the units you have, but also your powers, and that definitely can, should change your overall strategy, both when you're playing against and with a general.
Wow, it looks like Jimmy's really committed to those Gatling tanks. Taking out that Valkyrie right there, it can't run away. Obviously too slow, so Kokol just left it there, try to apply as most damage as possible, and then die in the wake.
Yeah, Jimmy really going all out with his defense, really making Daedalus' the general's strength his weakness, really taking it full counter against it. As you've seen, he's taken out multiple Valkyries at this point, which is devastating since those are fairly expensive units.
And Kokol tried to use the air raid there, but it helped in his favor. He saved his Valkyrie right there, made Jimmy run away, and so this time he actually can survive another day. So that was, even though it didn't connect, it actually worked in the favor of what Kokol wanted to do.
Yeah, so, sometimes all that you can really do with a player power is just buy yourself some time. Sometimes moving your opponent to a different place, affecting their positioning, is just as important as actually doing damage.
Yeah, so it looks like there's another skirmish in the middle of the map. closer to Jimmy's base at this point. Aegis tanks are being used along with those rifle soldiers. So right now they're just applying the pressure. Another player power is being used right in the middle there. And I don't know if Jimmy can get out of the way. It looks like Jimmy's using it, and is using it for himself. And then now it's applying the pressure and moving forward. Coco uses Never Give In, which is a healing ability for Daedalus, and he's actually trying to make sure that his units survive overall.
Yeah, I believe that player power was tear gas. Correct me if I'm wrong. So
yes, that is correct.
Power, it's an AoE effect. It affects that area that you see in the map. So the APA player gains benefits by sitting in it because they have...
Hey, look at this, look at this. Here's that line, man, here's that line.
No.
So a fuel bomb once again is going down. Coco used the spy drone to scout that area so he can cast it in that zone. And he's actually already meeting with a bunch of his other units that he had midway on the field and applying that pressure on those damaged structures.
Yeah, we see the EU player, he started to pepper those buildings, right? And he wasn't able to kill them initially, but he just started doing more and more damage to them. Now they're in such a weakened state, they go down so easily, and he's able to invade the base there. And it's really, really funny. So a EU player was forced off his game, off the air game, decides, you know what, I don't need the air, I'm just gonna go tanks. And I don't know if that was a surprise. It could be a surprise to our APA player here, Jimmy.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And it looks like Coco's making his way again on the map. He lost those forces there. Jimmy was able to counter them, but the damage has been done. And now he's moving on to trying to get another group of units to Jimmy's base again. So it looks like he has in this force this time more Aegis tanks, the Valkyrie as well, which is that really, really top tier air unit, and he's going to apply the pressure right at the front of Jimmy's base, but this time on the opposite side of the ramps.
We have, if I may borrow a line from Savop, we have a switch-do here where Coco might be attacking the power plant at Jimmy. Apologize for all the inside jokes here sometimes. We'll explain them as best we can. But this is definitely kind of a reversal of fortune here where we had EU player showing some early success, expanding well, then being neutralized a little bit, kind of forcing his back heel. Now he's taking up the offensive position again. He's in the base of our APA player, Jimmy. He's doing some heavy damage, and it appears he still has the superior economy, not by as much as he had before, but still a superior economy. Definitely advantage going to the EU player at this point.
Yeah, it looks like right now Jimmy's just trying to defend at the moment. He doesn't have enough units nor enough of the economy at this time to actually go ahead and go on the offensive. He's a little bit on his heels at the moment, so he needs to really recover and look at what Coco's building and automatically counter against that.
Exactly. So now we're back in a little bit of a waiting period where both players, they had some strikes, they had some give and take. APA player is on the ropes a little bit at this point. So they're both taking a pause, kind of reassess the situation, getting away from the heavy action, concentrating on their economy. We see we have a sneak attack there, was scouted out.
And it looks like a spy drone's being used right now to make sure that Coco sees everything. There's only an Aegis tank and a Valkyrie to actually go against this. This is not going to be enough. Coco can't really run away because right now that speed on that Valkyrie is so slow that it'll just take the damage. But it did handle that threat, didn't it?
He handled that perfectly there because the biggest threat was that Gatling tank, because the Gatling cannon was going to hit his aircraft, whereas none of the ground Red Guard, which are the infantry units, could hit it. So he wisely took all his effort into taking out the Gatling tank, which was the biggest threat, neutralized it to the point where the battle was essentially a stalemate. They couldn't hit each other.
It looks like Coco accidentally hit the Windows key there. We didn't disable that. Maybe we should next time. But
lesson learned.
You know, maybe his wrist there is getting tired, so it kind of went down a little bit and then popped straight into that Windows tab. So unfortunate, but it didn't cost him any two major units there, right? So he's safe for now. He's going to go ahead and build more from his war factory. He's using those Fox LRVs because he really wants to handle that threat of those urban assault squads.
Yep. Yeah, and this match I think is getting to a stage where it is winding down. We do have once again our EU players securing more resources at this point, starting to push into Jimmy's base, and I think it's just a matter of time. I think when we see the next engagement, I think that could be it. Like I said, we're gonna have to see what our APA player can cook up here to fight off this force, but he's against massive odds at this point.
Yeah, unfortunately right now, Jimmy doesn't have enough of an economy, so the harassment has been paying off, and basically Coco's been starving him to death. And right now, Jimmy's hurting really bad for money, and he only has a couple units left. It looks like Coco's pushing to the guy's base. and it looks like it's hurting really badly. The Fox LRV is again taking down the garrison structures right there in the middle of the map, and then also that Valkyrie as well. And it looks like Jimmy just is giving up. He's had enough. The pain is done, and it's the GG right there. Victory goes to Jason Coco, and it looks like these two had a nice back and forth, but in the end, starvation took its toll.
Yeah. Like I said, Jimmy kind of recognized that the battle, he had his initial advantage, but the battle, if it was going to go long, probably not in his advantage. Decided to call it quit early, and fortunately for us, that means we get to see if there's any other questions we can answer in the remaining time we had here. Just a couple minutes left, guys, actually. Hope that was some good fill of CNC action today in the EU faction. Now we're going to bring Melonie back on, who's going to take a couple more questions here.
This is a very interesting question. Adam wants to know, is there a naval element, and if so, what percentage of units?
I couldn't hear the question, I'm sorry.
I apologize.
I'll take an answer. So the question was, is there a naval element in the game, and if so, what percentage of units? There is not a naval element to the game. Say correct me if I'm wrong. Command & Conquer is all about ground, being infantry and tanks, and also air units. So sorry, no naval element, but I think that helps us keep the focus and balance where it needs to be. If you have too many elements in the game, although they could be fun in other perspectives, it just wouldn't make as satisfying of a game.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe we'll take probably just one more question, see if we have anything out here before we wrap up the show for today. So Melonie, pick the best question you can find.
Okay, well, Moby3012 wants to know, will there be any returning units from Command & Conquer Generals, and will they all have the same names, or will they be renamed? Give us more information on that.
So I guess I'll take this one. So one of the best things about, obviously, our title is a live service, right? And so a lot of the times, as the campaign announcement recently happened in the press conference, I mean, every single fan always wanted that single player experience. So that was a reaction to them, to be honest. And so if there is a special unit, I know Jarman Kell has been talked about a lot. Same with Black Lotus.
I gotta see Black Lotus. Colonel Burton, too.
Yeah, see that? Wow. So it looks like, yes, if the community wants it and they show it enough in the forums, then we will definitely react accordingly.
And I mean, there are a lot of similarities in returning units. I don't think we got to see it in that game, but on our theme of EU air focus, the Orca unit in our game, I believe, resembles the Comanche unit from a previous game.
A little bit. It does a little bit, yeah. So there are some kind of going back and forth between sampling from the past and bringing it towards a spice up of a future. And then there's ones that are straight ported over from like the Overlord tank, right? Which is straight bringing it back because it's such a fan favorite.
The Overlord tank also being the tank that is sitting out in front of our booth. If you guys didn't get a chance to check that out, on day one, we rolled a video that shows a little bit more about how that tank came to be. So with that said, guys, unfortunately, we're out of time today. That is our Command & Conquer hour here. We hope you enjoyed seeing the brand new EU faction. Savopolos, what do we have coming tomorrow?
So tomorrow we're going to have one of my fave, which is the Global Liberation Army. That guy is going to be awesome. I love the GLA. I love the Dr. Thraxes, the Salvage General with the battle buses. There's so many things I can go into right now, but I'm going to save it for tomorrow, and we'll show some more then. So tomorrow is all GLA all day.
All GLA all day. Well, that's it, guys. Representing the cast and crew here. I'm Matt Marcou, signing out for Jason Savopolos. I'll get it right one of these days. And Melonie Mac. Thank you guys for tuning in to Command & Conquer. We'll see you again tomorrow at the same time, 5 p.m. Cologne. See ya.